Welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. A few of you have reached out to me on Instagram and in the comments here on YouTube and said, Dale, what are your thoughts on the Fendi Versace swap? Fendace? And I never really felt qualified to give my opinion on fashion because I don't buy designer ready to wear because I don't think it's made for me, for my body. And the reason that I decided to come forth and share my thoughts and my favourite pieces and the things that I'm going to talk to my essay about is because I was so encouraged to see that there were all sorts of bodies on the catwalk, particularly in the Kim Jones for Versace section of the show, and it gave me a sense of hope that maybe, just maybe, there might be a piece for me. So, look, I don't know where to start. I have watched the show on Versace's YouTube channel now 2 or 3 times, and there's so much going on in my head that I'm sure this is going to be a bit of a scramble. I've tried to kind of structure it as, here are my overall observations about the swap. Here is what I see primarily from each of Kim Jones and Donatella Versace's perspectives. My favourite pieces, my not so favourite pieces, best men's look, best women's look, and favourite accessories. So stick with me. It's all going to be in the edit, I'm sure, and let's get to it. Obviously, I've gone big because this show was huge and so exciting, and I've got the song from the Versace side of things, like where do we start? Look, first things first, I do have some notes here so that I can cover off everything. What I noticed about the show is it's inspired by the 90s, and you can tell that. I actually found a video on Instagram which I'll try and link in the description box below, which kind of takes you behind the scenes around Kim and Donatella visiting the archives of Fendi and Versace and getting their inspiration, and they both landed on the same time period, the 90s. So you can see a lot of 90s references, and that really speaks to me because the 90s was when I was a teenager, so I was 10 to 20 in the 90s, do the math, right? And so I was probably a little bit late to the scene in terms of being able to wear a lot of these sorts of fashion to the clubs when I was legally able to go out. But in any respect, it's still a reference point that I'm familiar with, and it's obviously been back in the fashion scene now for the last few years, and there's been a lot of heavily influenced 90s fashion. So the 90s supermodel, the sleek slip dresses, really highlighting the body, legs, boobs, arms, everything. The body was absolutely worshipped in this show. What I also loved was a lot of the cutout pieces, the strapless dresses. That was kind of my thing in the late 90s. The shoes, this swap was inspired by getting out. Let's get out. We've been locked up for 2 years. Let's get out and celebrate life. Be big, be bold, live on the edge. The straightened hair, big thing from the 90s, right? Dead straight hair. The baby pinks and baby blues, those really sweet pastel colours, but those really cheeky slip dresses. That was all a big thing in the 90s. The denim, the double denim that came through. The cut on the dresses, and I'm all over the shop here, just let me go. So that's the overall kind of vibe. The suits and the hipster kind of low slung skirts on the women, especially. Again, 90s cropped midriff kind of tops for the clubs. Definitely 90s as well. So, yeah, from that perspective, it was obviously 90s. So, first thing I want to do is go to my observations around Kim Jones for Versace. First and foremost, I absolutely respect Kim Jones as a designer, and I do love the really sophisticated, modern and neutral aesthetic that he's brought to Fendi. But this show gave me, and the Spring-Summer collection of 2022, gave me hope that there'll still be fun in Fendi, because Fendi is a fun, adventurous, creative and bold brand, as is Versace. But I have to say I was a little concerned seeing such a muted colour palette that's pretty much, all we'll see. And what I love about Fendi is that fun and playful vibe. What I loved were the cutouts in the dresses, the shapes of the dresses especially, and those kind of bodycon pieces that really highlighted the woman's body. When you look at this beautiful piece in the jersey, I think it's a jersey, it looks like a jersey fabric. It's got the weight that it kind of just skims the figure, but it's so flattering, and all of the little details in that fabric just make it beautiful. The only thing I'm not sure of is the two kind of dinner plates on each cheek of the backside. I don't know if I'd like that, but I wish they could have come up with a different pattern for the back of the of the dress. But anyway, overall, I think that's a beautiful cut and super flattering. And then you see that kind of cutout again featured on Kate Moss at the end of the show. And it's just a little black dress, but it's so stunning. And I never knew that Kate Moss had boobs. And so I think, that's saying something about how these pieces are really flattering and highlighting the female form. For me, my favourite piece from the Kim Jones for Versace was that black evening gown. Everything about that look was just beautiful. It just had the right amount of sparkle, not too much like this. The right amount of sparkle. The lace was stunning. The transparency was stunning. How she was accessorized, that tiny little glow mesh gold nano. I've brought out my teeny tiny little nano baguette, who looks pretty plain now compared to this collaboration. And the shoes, it was just magic. And the fact that her styling, her hair, it really brought those kind of shapes into today. And I think that mix between referencing the 90s but making it fit for today was just beautifully done. For the men, I have to say the men in pink, they were my favourite looks, and all of the little pieces, particularly, I'll put him up here, but he's wearing a beautiful bucket hat. I think that bucket hat will go crazy. Whether you're a man or a woman, people are going to love that bucket hat. The fabric, the beautiful fabric baguettes that were worn were just out of this world, and the one on this man in particular is stunning. So I really loved the pinks on the men, and I think that bomber jacket, again, unisex. There's a really androgynous kind of theme to this show. Then obviously we have those stunning combinations of the intricately beaded, embroidered jackets with swimwear. Wow, I can't imagine the hours that have gone into creating something like that. For me, the swimwear, I think, is going to be a big thing. I think people will buy those swimsuits and wear them as a bodysuit because they are just stunning, and why wouldn't you want to get as much out of those pieces as possible? Then, on top of that, the combination of layering the bags, so having the large tote and then a little baguette on the front, like, I really love that, and I am really keen on that shopper tote with the pinks and the golds. I think that's just it's just amazing. And the combination, that gold baguette, that's the one that I really have my eyes on. In terms of, you know, me and gold, I'm not a massive fan of it, but if you're going to go gold, you may as well go gold all the way. One thing I didn't like quite as much was the block coloured bags with the gold pins in them. To me, it's just, I know it's Versace, but it's, to me, that's a little bit, it's a little bit, am I going to say it, tacky? I didn't like it. I didn't like those at all. And I think they're a little bit butchy, and I'm not a huge fan. Now, the shoes and sandals were just divine. They probably look a little bit high for me. So or the models had difficulty walking in them because they were walking really fast in this show. So I would want to have a closer look at those. I think they're stunning. I love all the bling. It reminds me of when I used to go out. I'd always wear strappy sandals and a short skirt with a little split. And you see that coming up in Donatella's collection for Fendi. Anyway, spoiler alerts. And the strapless top, that just takes me right back. I think for me, that jersey dress is a standout in terms of something I might be interested in purchasing, depending on the price. I think that is a piece that you could wear forever because it's not trendy. It's its own world. And as I said, those large totes were beautiful. The men's silk bomber in the pink and gold, stunning. Loved it, but we don't have a Versace here in my city. I really don't even know how I'd go about getting any of those pieces, to be honest. Okay, so Donatella for Fendi. Now, we do have a Fendi store, and I've been in touch with my SA, and they're expecting this collection to land in Australia in May 2022. That doesn't mean that my store is going to get anything, but they're currently looking into whether or not there are transfers and things available. Now, I've never really spent too much time on Versace because of the gold. Simple. I've been to the Palazzo Versace here on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, and it is an opulent, beautiful hotel. But the gold, in terms of the fashion and the bags, has been something that has kind of kept me away because we all know that I'm a big fan of the silver palladium hardware here on this channel. In saying that, I really loved Donatella's contribution to Fendi here, and opening up with the suits. It reminded me of Clueless, the matching suits. So the jacket and the skirt and then the crop and the knee-high boots and everything in Fendi monogram. It was so cool. The tights, I think, are going to go crazy because, if you pull out bits and pieces of things that people integrate into their wardrobes, the tights, perhaps the jackets, I don't know anybody, me included, who's going to go back to wearing hipster skirts. But you never know. It could well happen. The leopard print, wow, with the blue. Look, I think that's probably where she lost me a little bit. I think that was just too much. Although I was a fan of leopard print back in the day, I think that's just, wow, huge, crazy. Again, Donatella's take on the androgynous nature, particularly of the accessories, with men carrying hot pink baguettes. It looked great. And even though the bags are a little bit butch for me, they looked fabulous when they were styled for the men. And I really liked the idea of the men wearing, those chunky loafers and the socks pulled up, and the socks were branded. They looked really comfortable and chic, and the layering and the fabrics you just want to touch them. They just looked divine. The fabrics, not the men. Another thing I wasn't a huge fan of in the Donatella for Fendi was the tote bag with the pink fur FF print. I just thought that was a bit too much. But there'll be people who love that, and that's cool as well. Donatella herself wore the double denim, and the double denim look, it just takes you right back. But the baguette in that look was divine, and that's something that caught my eye and is definitely on my list. I think there's no denying that the star of the show, well, besides Naomi Campbell, the star of the show in terms of outfits was those pink glow mesh disco dress. So much Fendi monogram, trench coats, jackets, boots, tights, skirts, pants. The men's look with the hat, the scarf, the drink bottle, the tiny little nano baguette. That was my favourite look for the men's by Donatella, and my favourite look for the women's was absolutely that pink glow mesh. It was tough actually, because I thought that was so beautiful, but I won't be wearing it. I won't be wearing it, but I really loved that, and I also loved the cute little suit at the very beginning. For me, as I said before, I really want to look at the shoes, although the models didn't look very confident in walking in the shoes. Maybe that's saying something. Maybe they are too high and there's no point. But the tiny little glow mesh baguettes, and there's a leather baguette as well, which I will pop on the screen. They look to have detachable chains, and so I think that is going to lend them to having a lot of opportunity to be attached to other bags like we saw through the show, but also that they can be kind of a necklace or accessory in and of themselves, which gives them a lot of versatility, and they really are going to be, I guess, like a very small pop that has a huge impact on an outfit. And if you're an everyday Joe that doesn't, dress like what we see on the catwalk, but you want a piece from this collection, I dare say that those little baguettes, they're going to be hot, hot, hot. And they're probably going to have a hot, hot, hot price tag as well. The denim baguette, again, for me, was a big one. A lot of the accessories were really beautiful and great statement pieces as well. So as I said, my pick for the men is the Fendi Suit from head to toe, everything, including the drink flask, or the sippy cup, whatever you want to call it. And for the women, that pink glow mesh disco club dress, and all the accessories, the whole look was just absolutely stunning. What will I buy? Look, any ready-to-wear that comes in for both the men's and women's collection, I'd really like to have a look at. And if we get it in our local boutique, I'd really appreciate the opportunity to have a look at it. But in terms of the ready-to-wear, I don't think there's anything that I would buy, but definitely a couple of bags. Look, there was so much to look at. It's like going into those stores that are just covered in merchandise and you have to walk around them several times before you see things. So really, in terms of the earrings and the jewelry, again, it's really gold. So for me, that's kind of very costumey. And it's very rare that I gravitate towards gold jewelry, especially for evenings out. So yeah, I'll probably be leaving that. But just because it's not my taste doesn't mean I didn't love and enjoy the show. I think it's a really exciting thing to happen in fashion, especially given what we've been through over the last couple of years. It gives me hope about 2022. Can you just imagine if 2022 looks like 2019 and we are out and we are having a great time and we are living our best lives and we're unapologetically bold and we're having playful experimentation in our wardrobes and with our fashion. It could be a really fun time. So I hope you've enjoyed my take on the show. As I said, I did hesitate because I'm not, I don't buy ready-to-wear fashion because it doesn't fit me. But this show has given me some hope that potentially there will be some pieces for me. But as we know, accessories-wise, well, there is a lot there as well. And when I talked about in the last couple of videos waiting for fun baguette to come out? Well, there are some fun baguettes coming out, and yep, I can't wait to see them if we're lucky enough to get any and have a good look at them when we get here. But for me as well, that tote, I think the tote is a really great option. I love the idea of that tote. One thing that this show did demonstrate was the fact that, yes, there were tiny little mini bags, but a lot of bigger bags coming back. And so I wonder, if the question that we keep asking is, when are big bags coming back? Well, maybe this is a sign of the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly have enjoyed it. I've still got the beats going on in my head from the runway show. Tell me what you think. What are some of your favourite pieces? I keep discovering close-ups on the Fendi and Versace Instagram pages, and I usually share them to my stories if they're things that I like. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, head over there and give me a follow, and also follow Fendi and Versace if you want to keep up to date on the close-ups of the pieces from the show, because every day, multiple times a day, they are posting, and the detail is just overwhelming, and I feel like I'm just hitting like, and share the story all the time. So I know a lot of you are really excited about the show. It'll be great to see what the collective here, what we actually love and what we actually buy, if anything. So here's to fashion being fun and playful and bold and individual. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays. So I'll see you in my next one. Bye.